Take a look.
NBC News has learned that 4 ventilator companies will be upping their production of ventilators by 50%. But even those 50,000 new machines rolled out over the next year will be a drop in the bucket of need, projected to be in the hundreds of thousands. But into this grim picture enter hope from an unlikely spot just a few miles outside Waxahachie, Texas. A device being mass-produced that some of the nation's top ICU doctors believe could help save thousands of people. Out behind his house in a series of 4-car garages, Chris Austin, his family, and a few other volunteers are making what may be a miracle: helmets for ventilation. The only one available in the U.S. that meets FDA requirements and has been studied in a hospital.
Explain to me exactly how the helmet works.
You have the tubes that feed the air. The opening is cut for the patient's neck to make sure there's no leakage.
Versions of the spacesuit-like helmet have been widely used in Italy, but never really caught on in the U.S., except for here at the University of Chicago, where ICU doctors started studying it 4 years ago. They were encouraged by the fact some patients could be spared for being put on a ventilator by using the helmet.
Even if it's 1 out of 3 or 1 out of 5. That is the case, that would be a game changer when we're seeing this tidal wave of patients who need a ventilator.
Dr. Patel and her mentor, Dr. John Kress, have been working closely with Chris Austin to modify the helmets for COVID-19 patients. Dr. Kress put the helmet to work this week. Here is one of the first patients, an 81-year-old man.
Having the oxygen that comes right off the wall supply without a ventilator at all is the idea, and it went very well.
Back in Texas, orders pour in from all over the world. VA hospitals, Johns Hopkins, Mass General have all placed orders, as well as Canada, Mexico, Italy, and many more.
Working 2 shifts, basically 24/7. We're all here till 2, 3, 4 in the morning.
But he expects to be producing 5,000 units in just a few days, thanks to a surprise call from the CEO of Virgin Galactic.
He said, "Chris, I saw what you do, and we want to help, whatever it takes."
Chris told him he needed more machines, but didn't have the cash to pay for them. Later that day,
we had a call from the supplier that said, "Somebody just paid your bill. They'll be shipping tomorrow."
So, Chris, how do you decide who's going to get them first?
We know Boston, we know Chicago, and places like that, so they really should get something quicker to save lives.
The 20 they shipped to Chicago were delivered yesterday.
I hope that our contribution is that perhaps we can spare a few ventilators for patients and give them to the patients that need them.
And a final note, the helmets cost $162 before the coronavirus, and they still do.
This probably sounds sappy, but we think of what if that was our son or daughter or grandfather sitting there in that bed gasping for air, and we have to explain to him that, "I'm sorry, we don't have anything for you." And this, I think, will make it much more available for a larger number of people.
So Chris tells us that he will give the design for making the helmet for free to any manufacturer who has the capacity to make it. So far he's already got 2 takers, it looks like, in Michigan. He's hoping to find others around the country. He's remarkable.
He
Family's remarkable.
I mean, just one of our best right there, saying, "I'm going to do something about it." He's got his family in there working all the shifts. Anybody else coming to help him out?
Well, yeah, I mean, he went to his church and said, "Hey, I need volunteers." So he's got, he's doubled his workforce from 5 to 10. He's going up to 30. Nobody's getting paid. When I was interviewing him, I saw a woman in the background working. I said, "Who's that?" He said, "Oh, yeah, she came about a week ago. She goes to my church. She's worked 16 hours a day. She lives an hour away, so she's living on our RV in the backyard so she can keep doing it, and she's not being paid." People are good in their hearts.
Yes,
Truckers are coming to pick up for free, delivering them all over the country. It's super impressive.
Yeah, it just does our heart good to hear that.
Yes.
And I hope it catches on. I really do, Cynthia.
Yeah, we have a feeling after people watch Cynthia's piece, it will. Thank you, Cynthia.
Thanks. He's reached out to the government, hasn't heard back. I bet he does now.
I bet you're right.
Hope so.
All right, what do you say we